Why do people leave their dogs in hurricanes? Some people are jerks, some people literally can't. Many moons ago during Hurricane Sandy, my friend and her husband had to evacuate. Like, cops at door telling people to leave now. They got one cat in a carrier, but could not find the second cat. They stayed as long as they could and looked all over that little condo, but Kitty did not want to be found. They had to leave her behind. They left out food and water on top of the fridge and evacuated. When they got back, she was waiting for them, hungry, but okay, in a condo that took on 2 feet of water during the storm. They suspect she wrote it out on top of the kitchen cabinets, but never figured out where she hid when they were looking for her. Some may not be pets, some are strays. Shelters more often than not won't take pets, so it's either stay and risk death for the dog or leave with your family and let the dog loose so it can find shelter. The dog freaks and gets loose while they are trying to leave, and the family is unable to find it before they have to go. As a foreigner, I have saw videos. Which videos have you seen? 99 of the time, 99 of people will do everything they can to save their pets even in a hurricane. The remaining one, there might be a reason of them might not. It would depend on the video. Saw one clip on here of a dog rescued beside a highway as it had been tied to a fence by someone during Hurricane Helene. I believe it was already in some fairly deep water when the person spotted them. How do you know the owners evacuated? Maybe they were killed and the dog survived. When Hurricane Andrew came through in the 90s, we evacuated up to my grandmother's place. Unfortunately, her place did not allow dogs and she was never a dog person to begin with, so we left our pup at home. My dad felt terrible about it and decided he was going to stay there to keep the dog company. I lost my dog and my dad that night. I really wish I would have just lost my dog. Sometimes people have to make hard choices. Some people aren't even able to evacuate themselves. A very small percentage of pet owners are shitty. The others who left pets likely did not have a place where they could take them, or lack transport that would allow an animal, or had no money. Thanks to Instagram, I've seen some simulations of floods and how catastrophic and rapid they can be. Water can fill the home so quickly, preventing people from opening doors. Imagine drowning because you're trapped in a room. Those that can get to roofs are dealing with 100-mile winds and flying objects. And how sturdy is the house structure? Because if it collapses, you're in the rising water with chemicals, animals, sharp objects, and crazy strong currents. It's an actual living nightmare. I used to think people who left their animals were all assholes, but I don't know. If you have little resources, no time, no room, and a family, what do you do? People that stay behind can and have died. So what do you do? I want to believe I'd be like the lady on the Titanic who died with her Great Dane, but I've never been in that situation. I just try not to judge everyone the same anymore unless it's obvious neglect and callousness. I'd never want to be forced to make that choice. It might be a choice between their kids and their dog. They might not be able to afford a hotel that allows pets. The shelter they are going to may not allow pets. There are plenty of reasons that are an asshole for someone to leave a pet behind. Most people who leave their pets don't want to. People died in WNC because they wouldn't leave their dogs. I love my cat and dog. I love my kids more and I don't want them to grow up without a mother because I wouldn't leave an animal. For people without money that evacuate, a lot of shelters don't take pets, even if they are supposed to. For people with money that evacuate, they can try and find a hotel that accepts pets, but this gets pricey AF when trying to evacuate a major storm that may or may not leave you homeless. Every penny counts. There are also some that just don't evacuate because they can't. If they have pets, it's even odds that they are gonna die or their pets will die, or both. I'm not defending people who leave their pets, nor have I ever left mine, but I really need some of the people in this comment section to have not lived through the shit to stop villainizing people for trying to survive. In rural areas there are pet dogs that are essentially free range and roam wherever they want. If you don't know where your dog is, it's hard to evac them. Do you live in a country with strict animal control and lack of strays? The South has an abundance of strays, so much so that shelters are typically always full and will ship dogs up north to make room for the never-ending influx of strays. Just because you're seeing dogs being rescued doesn't mean that someone's pet that was purposely left during evacuation. Have you considered the possibility that their owners sheltered in their house with the pets and that the house was completely destroyed by a tornado? My girl will run away like a headless chicken and not hear me calling, while my boy will crawl into my arms when there is danger. People seldom prepare themselves for the worst scenarios. It's a competitive disadvantage. So, when those types of circumstances do arise, they are forced to make decisions that they weren't prepared for. All of the moralizing in this thread is a rejection of this fact. The truth is that we simply cannot expect people with poorly developed critical thinking skills and minimal resources to manage complex scenarios. There is no reason. It is a natural consequence of the world that we live in. That's not to say that I'm happy with it. People don't do shitty things in your country? Lack of space in evacuation vehicle, lack of place to go that will allow them, leave to guard against looting. In this type of situation, most shelters won't take the pets. And if they did, it would be chaos. Imagine dozens of dogs fighting in a facility. There would be people with allergies, phobias, etc. Southern USA and LATAM, where I am from, have a very detached relationship with their dogs. They have hot weather, so their dogs are sometimes outdoor dogs' backyard with some type of a dog house. Many Northerners and maybe OP's country would consider that crazy and cruel. But it's socially accepted in those areas, or at least tolerated. So for some people, it's like they are closer to a farm animal than a person. I wouldn't leave my dog, but I also would have evacuated a long time ago. Fucked up situation, so I'm not going to judge those that did what they had to do. Some of it is evil people, but also there just isn't actually infrastructure to deal with evacuation of millions of pets. Like, some people are just being awful, but like, there is lots of shelters that can't manage 7,000 random dogs along with the people. There isn't always places for everyone to go during a disaster. When people evacuate during a hurricane, they usually have a destination in mind, like a family member's house or apartment far away in another state. Driving there and staying in hotels can be expensive, and many are not prepared for the cost of paying pet fees in hotels or boarding pets once they get to family members out of state whose landlords don't allow pets. I'm originally from Louisiana and have been through many hurricane evacuations where I've had to evacuate as far as New York City. I'm lucky my family always had a place to bring our dogs, but that's not feasible for everyone. Remember that many people living in the South too are desperately poor.